Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you? No response.
Sleepy.
Sleepy. Why? Is it way too early for you? Is this way too early?
A little bit.
A bit.
So.
Okay, so yeah. There are like not even half of the students. Okay. All right. Maybe you've noticed that I returned your homework, which means remember what I told you last time. So it's just whether you have done the homework or not. So not whether your answers are correct. So we're going to check the homework today, right now. Okay, let's give some other sleepyheads a chance to join us. All right, did you find the homework difficult? Anyone?
Not really.
Not really, okay. All right.
It was okay. I have learned some new words, for example.
Okay, all right. So this was especially difficult, I guess, for those who have never flown by plane. But that's why I gave you this homework, because you could use your dictionaries and so on. So let's talk about dictionaries a bit before we start checking your homework. So what about dictionaries? What dictionaries do you use? Do you use online dictionaries? Okay, someone's asking for access. Okay. Why? Okay. All right. So do you use paper dictionaries? Are you old-fashioned? Or do you use electronic dictionaries? Does anyone use a paper dictionary?
No, I use electronic.
Okay. Do you use a dictionary on a CD or an online one?
Online one.
Which one?
Google Translator.
So you use an English-Serbian dictionary?
Yes.
Okay, good. What about the rest of you?
Cambridge.
Cambridge? Which one?
To be honest, I don't know. It's called Cambridge Dictionary.
Is it a paper dictionary or an electronic?
You mean online? Okay, yeah, online.
Oh, it's an online dictionary, because there are dictionaries on CDs as well, so they also count as electronic dictionaries. Okay. So it's a monolingual dictionary, isn't it? Monolingual. Jednojezični. So both of course, the vocabulary that you're looking up and the explanations or the meanings or the definitions are given in English. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Does anyone else use a monolingual dictionary?
I use the Oxford dictionary in the paper dictionary, and it's English dictionary.
Okay. All right. So that sounds, when a young person uses a paper dictionary, then it's retro. When an older person uses that's old-fashioned. Okay. Great. Anyone else? All right, guys, for everyone, it's time for you. So if you've been using an English-Serbian or a Serbian-English dictionary, now is the time for you to switch to a monolingual dictionary, English-English. It will be immensely useful for you. So that's one thing. Another thing, what's a good dictionary? To play it safe, you'll never make a mistake if you opt for a dictionary by a renowned publisher of dictionaries or English course books. So whether it's a printed one or an electronic one on a CD or online. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about Cambridge University Press. I'm talking about Oxford University Press, Longman or Pearson, Collins, Macmillan. So those are good dictionaries because these are really, really good publishers of English language learning, teaching books and dictionaries, of course. Okay, so when it comes to Google Translate, yes, if you need to translate, that's probably the best bet. But please, you have to use a monolingual dictionary at this point because you'll miss out on a lot if you don't. Because that gives you an opportunity to learn more language along the way, simply because the definitions will be also in English. Plus, you know that in these courses, you're supposed to use English only. And you know that in both uses, you'll have exercises in which you're going to give something that looks like a dictionary definition. And you had one such exercise for homework from last time. And I don't know whether you did any exercises with Dayan that require you to give dictionary definitions. If you didn't do them last time, you certainly will. So, you know, it's really useful in many ways for you to start using monolingual dictionaries. Okay, so those of you who have not submitted your homework 1, now you're done with this. It's too late to send it. Remember that always be careful what the deadline is. So your next homework, I actually uploaded your next homework to our classroom, and the deadline is, I think, Wednesday, not I think, I know, it's Wednesday at midnight or a minute to midnight. So yes, make sure you do it then. Remember that next time we're switching to our old schedule. No, actually, we're switching to our old day, which is Thursday for use 1. But we're changing the time slot, and it will be from 3:30 to 5, so that those people taking that Russian elective can actually have Russian after use 1. Are you aware of that? Dobili ste mailove, sećate se? Još prošle nedelje smo raščistili odmah narednog dana, taj raspored. So next Thursday, you're not going to have use 1 starting at 5:15, but at 3:30, so that we are done by 5. And of course, your grammar course is also moved to an earlier slot. I think, I don't know, 1:45, something like that. Yeah, I think 1:45. Anastasia, yes, please, go on. Go ahead.
We have medieval literature that day, actually. The teacher moved it from...
There's nothing in the schedule. We officially changed the schedule.
Well, I don't know. She said that it's going to be the first class tomorrow.
When? What time?
From 12, I think.
Well, if it's
Yep.
from 12 to 1:30, then your grammar will start at 1:45 and finish at 3:15, and then use 1 starts at 3:30 and finishes at 5, and your Russian starts at 5:15. No?
Thanks.
So there's no overlap if your literature starts at 12. So you're good to go, I think. Okay. So anyway, today I'm going to schedule our classes starting next Thursday. and they will be from 3:30. It may be a different link, but it doesn't make any difference. I'll put it in the calendar, and you should get a notification 10 minutes before the class. Did you get a notification this morning?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it will be, so of course I'll schedule it in the same way. So it doesn't matter whether it's a different link or the same one. Okay, so that's it. We're all set. We're good to go. Could we, before we check our homework, can we talk a bit about holidays in general? And then we'll do pages 5 and 6. And then we'll get to pages 7 and 8 and actually check your homework. All right, so holidays. When was the last time you went on holiday? Was it before the pandemic or during, Ksenia?
Holiday, do you mean to travel somewhere or to have a holiday like some, I don't know how to say it in English, vacation?
Like not have to do anything. I meant to go somewhere, to travel somewhere.
Oh, I haven't traveled somewhere for a long, long time.
Okay, yeah, me too. Natalia?
The last time I actually went was this September, at the end of September. I went to Greece for 10 days. It was really nice because I didn't go last year because of the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, lucky.
This was a nice opportunity.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I went to the post office once this summer. Yay! That was a huge event. Just kidding, no holidays for me. Vanya, and then Nicolia, I think.
Yeah, I went during the pandemic, like the end of July, I think, or the end of June, something like that, and it was the first time I actually left this country. We went to Bosnia and Herzegovina and to Montenegro for about 7 to 8 days, I think. But because we were traveling by car, we actually got to see a lot of things and see the road and take in the scenery. It was really, really an experience.
Wonderful. Great. So you enjoyed it thoroughly, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Good for you. Nicolia? Oops. Go ahead.
So the same as Vanya, when the borders opened up a bit during July, I did go with my family to a field trip for a day to Bosnia, but that's about it because there wasn't many places we could go. I wanted to go to Sweden this year, but that got run over because of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's a shame. Hopefully next summer will be different.
Yeah, I hope so too.
In a good way, different in a good way. Okay, let me not jinx it. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So, what can I say? Anyone else? What about in the previous life, meaning before the pandemic, when we led normal lives? So for example, what's the most exotic place you've been to? Anyone? No exotic places? What's the most distant place you've been to? Natalia?
Well, the most distant place I've ever been to is Russia. I went with my dance group and we had to travel for 3 days because we went by bus and it was really uncomfortable, but it was worth it because it was so beautiful there and I really loved it.
Yeah. Did you get any sleep on the bus?
Barely.
Barely.
It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah,
we tried to have 2 seats each so that we could try to lie down, but it was still really uncomfortable.
yeah. Plus, if you're traveling with a group of young people, oh, there's no sleep on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, as you say, it was all worth it. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. What kind of dance group is that?
Well, it's like traditional folk dances.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay, wonderful. All right. I had a friend, now she's an acquaintance, who was into that kind of dance, and she and her group actually traveled to Australia, they traveled to Canada. Of course, they traveled Europe many times. But they went to some really distant and really exotic places. So that's a lovely way to travel the world with your friends. Luca.
Yes, I've been to Hong Kong.
No way.
Yeah,
How come?
yeah, I was,
Share your secret with us. And
yeah,
can
I
you
was,
with you next time?
I was participating in 2019 in the World Olympics in geography, and I was part of the Serbian team, and
Wow.
yeah, it was held in Hong Kong, and we had to fly to Doha, the capital of Qatar,
Mhm.
and then from there we had to fly to Hong Kong. So there were essentially 4 different flights,
Mhm.
and we stayed there for about a week, under a week. And yeah, it was quite an experience. It was during the protests, so exactly
Oh, yes.
so
Mm.
I managed to visit before China kind of took over. So yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We also
Okay.
saw huge spiders.
You saw what spiders?
Yeah, huge spiders. They took us.
La 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 la. Okay. Sorry. Oh,
Don't worry, I
I'm
hate them
afraid.
too. I hate them too. I was like shaking the whole day after that.
I,
Uh,
I,
yeah, they took us to a forest, to an abandoned village, and there was a forest with huge spiders.
Oof. Okay, you shouldn't have told me that.
Sorry.
I lose sleep tonight. I lose a
Yeah,
lot of sleep tonight. Okay, you can imagine that I
yeah,
don't like insects.
I hate spiders as well. I'm
Oof.
pretty bad with that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But otherwise, how did you like Hong Kong? Did you get to do a lot of sightseeing or just some,
Ooh.
I guess? You were busy?
Yeah, for the most part, we stayed at the university campus where the thing was held. And I mean the campus was nice. It's interesting because it's always raining there, and we were also in the middle of a storm, of a typhoon. So they have kind of as you're walking through the campus, they have these kind of glass ceilings, I guess.
Okay.
They're really thick. They kind of protect you from the rain, and it's weird. Yeah. It's everything is designed with rain in mind. But yeah, I saw the city, but I didn't see the city center or like the city proper.
Right.
The
Yeah, but
CBT.
but you can still say that you went to Hong Kong, and which is amazing.
Yeah. I mostly went to like the more
Mm-hmm.
residential parts of Hong Kong,
Mm-hmm.
like the markets and stuff like that. And also we also went to like certain villages and whatnot. It was
Okay.
also part of that. Yeah, but
Good for
it was fun.
Thank you.
I guess.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Anyone else, guys? I don't think anyone can top Hong Kong, but You know, maybe something closer, something that left an impression on you. Yes, Laden.
I went to China for a year.
No.
Yes.
How and
Yes.
when?
Well, my mom got a job there as an English teacher, so I went to a city called Anshan,
Uh-huh. Where's that?
near North Korea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somewhere near,
Uh-huh.
but not in North Korea. It's
Of
still in
course.
China.
Right, right. So what was it like?
Really confusing living there. Really confusing.
Why?
Because of the culture, because of the food, everything was different. Sometimes it was a bit too much. They do have a lot of traditions that are sometimes just not weird, but really foreign to us.
Right.
Yeah, that was basically my experience. But it was good. It was a good experience overall.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was like an experience that you would probably remember for the rest of your life, and you'll tell your grandkids about that year in China. Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so wonderful. Thank you. Wow. Can anyone else impress me with your exotic destinations? No? Any place that may not be far away or nor exotic that left a lasting impression on you? Anything that you would like to share? Anyone? Yes, Natalia?
I'm sorry that I keep raising my hand, but I just really love traveling, and it always leaves an impression on me. I also, with my dance group, went to Austria. It was a really, really small town called Gmunden, I think. And I couldn't believe that that place is real. It literally looks like something out of a fairy tale. It's so picturesque. I don't know how to explain it. It's literally what you imagine when you're reading a children's book.
Yeah.
And everyone is so nice that it's a really cute little place.
Were there any gingerbread houses? As in
No,
Hansel and Gretel?
no,
Hansel and Gretel, Ivica and Marica. No? No wicked witches?
no wicked witches. Everyone was
That's
really
good.
nice.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Anastasia and then Nicolia again. Yes, Anastasia.
Well, I've traveled to Germany multiple times since I have family there, and I traveled once for student exchange, which was a whole new experience. But the thing that left probably the most impact on me was when I traveled for the first time there with my aunt to visit my other aunt. It was amazing. Honestly, I don't like big cities, so the city that was in Wiesbaden was quite small, and I liked it a lot. So hopefully, after college, I'll go live there.
Hopefully. Yeah. Wonderful.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be really nice. Okay. Great. Thank you. Nicolia, your turn now again.
This is more related to this nation in our own country. The Devil's Valley. I recently visited it again because I went when I was a kid. I think most of us have, but it was such a different experience because the nature there is so weird. Most of the rocks look completely different than how I remember it. It was just a really nice experience, and it kind of made me look into how much of beautiful nature we also have in our own country when it comes to mountains and other weird nature wonders. That I kind of started making a little plan of like places within our country I'd like to visit.
That's a smart move. That's a smart thing to do. Yeah, yeah. You know, I've never been there.
I really think you should. It's
Yeah, I think I should. Yeah.
It's really not that expensive to go, and most of the time you'll just walk and enjoy the scenery, especially if you have someone to go with you as well. It's just a really nice time. It's like a nice way to go out for one day, and you can come back home in the same day because it's not far away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. That's a very good idea, I think, and a very wise idea, especially nowadays during the pandemic. All right. Thank you, guys. So this was an opportunity for you to talk. We're not going to have many such opportunities because, you know, we have the reader, we have the syllabus that we have to cover. But, you know, okay, so always take advantage of an opportunity to speak, especially because this is a huge class. There are 90 of you. Not all of you are here this morning, but anyway, you know what I mean. Okay, so we're talking now about pages 5 and 6. So can we do, okay, the first exercise, which is a general passage on holidays. Okay, so have a look at the exercise. So this is a short text or a passage dealing with a particular topic. You know what the topic is. You see that there's a number of blanks here. And there are some words and phrases given in the box above the text. A box uvežbanjuje ovaj uokvir ide. So here it looks like a table or a chart, but it's the same thing. Okay, so I'm sure you've done these types of exercises in your high school. So what are we just supposed to do? We're supposed to use the process of elimination and find the right spot, the right place, or the right blank or gap for each of the offered words or phrases above the text. So that's all we're supposed to do. So can you take maybe 2 minutes to try to fill in the gaps? And then I'll ask a volunteer to read it. Okay, we're going to do lots and lots of these tests or exercises like this one. This is the so-called cloze test. Cloze test. C-L-O-Z-E or Z-E. Znači nije sa S, nego sa Z. Cloze test. And a cloze test will be one of the major exercise types that you will get in your final exam. If we do the final exam at the faculty in a classroom. So that's why we're going to do lots and lots of these cloze tests. Okay, so take a couple of minutes and then, you know, we'll check your answers. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right. Ask questions along the way if you have any. And I'll shut up now and give you 2 minutes. right. Have you finished? Sorry. Has anyone finished? Leah? Okay. So Leah is the only one who has finished. Okay, Mariana too. All right. Okay, Ilya too. Good. Okay. So guys, who would like to read this for us so that we can check? So Leah, since you raised your hand first, so I'm asking you first if you would like to read this, or if you just said that you have done it.
Well, I would like to read it.
Okay, I would like to hear it. Okay, so guys, again, we're all working on improving our English here. So, you know, don't worry if you make mistakes, because, you know, we're in this together. I'll help when I can, if I can. And that's it. Okay. And you know that I like interrupting people and asking questions. And again, let me just remind you of this. So when I interrupt the reader with a question, the question is not addressed to the reader, but primarily to the rest of the class. But of course, the person reading the sentence or the exercise that we're working on, of course, may also offer an answer if he or she wants to. Okay, Leah, this passage is all yours.
Okay, thank you. People have more money and more leisure nowadays, and even young people can afford to go abroad.
Stop there. Okay. So yes, you nicely said leisure, which is American English. In British English, they would usually say leisure, but both pronunciations are perfectly fine, so use either one. Okay, great. Go on, Leah.
Many travel agents offer cheap cut price tickets for flights to all parts of the world, so youngsters can avoid the crowded well-known places and get to less famous areas which are off the beaten track.
Okay, stop there. Very nice. So I think you know what a travel agent is. Cut price tickets. So cut price tickets. Those are lower tickets, discounted tickets, right? Who are youngsters? Anyone? Youngsters? Just turn on your microphone.
Young people.
Young people. So us, young people. Yes. Okay. What else? Off the beaten track. So literally translated, it would be something like van ut or mimo utabane staze. So that kind of, I mean, it doesn't really mean anything in Serbian because we don't have that phrase in that form, but it does give you a very, very good idea of what this phrase means.
Excuse me, mislim da je naš izraz za tu frazu Bogu iza nogu.
Could be, although Bogu iza nogu has a negative connotation. This doesn't have a negative connotation like the Serbian phrase. So can anyone tell me in English what it means if a place is off the beaten track? Nadia.
Maybe some place that not much people can go to. Only few can go there.
Not many people, not just can go to, but not many people know of, not many people visit. So it's not very well known. It's not visited very often by tourists, you know, but it's like a hidden gem. It could be a hidden gem as well. Could be a dull place, but it could be a hidden gem. Okay. All right, go on, Leah.
Okay. Instead of using public...
I'm really sorry. So I just wanted to say that Bogu iza nogu may be a little bit too harsh, although in some contexts, that would be the appropriate translation. So anyway, there's no 100% overlap between the Serbian phrase that we've heard and the English phrase off the beaten track. Not 100% overlap. Okay, go on.
Instead of using public transport and hotels, they can travel by hitchhiking and stay at youth hotels.
Okay, stop there. Hitchhiking, what is hitchhiking? You know what that is,
When you
right?
stand next to the road and like raise your hands.
Yes, like this, yeah. Okay. And stay at youth hostels. So the original name is a youth hostel, but nowadays everyone just says a hostel because in the old times hostels were primarily for young people, but nowadays you have people of all ages staying at hostels. So nowadays they are usually referred to only as hostels, not necessarily youth hostels. Okay, and it's practically a Serbian word because we stole it from English. So we also say hostel, okay? So we changed the pronunciation slightly, but it's the same thing. You know what a hostel is. Okay, go on.
But most people prefer some kind of package holiday at a popular holiday resort. Which means that everything is arranged for you and the price you pay includes transport, food and accommodation.
Very nice, thank you. So what's a package holiday, anyone? What's the Serbian term for a package holiday? We have a term for that.
All inclusive.
Paket aranžman, mi kažemo paket aranžman, da. So everything is included in the price that you pay. So you don't have to worry about anything, you don't have to organize anything. So the transportation, accommodation, your meals, usually most of your meals or all of your meals are included in the price. Okay. Go on, Claire.
Try to avoid taking your holiday during the busy peak tourist season. It's more crowded and expensive. If possible, go in the quieter off-peak period.
Right. Thank you very much, Leah. Thank you. Okay. So, peak tourist season. What is that? So this is British English. All the exercises in the reader are from British English books. The only part of the reader that is taken from an American English book has to do with those picture dictionary pages. So almost all the picture dictionary pages are from an American English picture dictionary. And I did that on purpose so that you will be exposed to both varieties of English. But, you know, these are British English exercises. All the exercises are in British English. So in British English, they say the peak season. What do they say in American English? Something that is probably easier to decipher. High season, high season. What do we say in Serbian?
Just kad je sezona i kad nije sezona.
Dobro, mi kažemo u sezoni, but peak season or high season, spitz sezone. Yeah. Okay, or yes, u sezoni, but you know, this is emphatic, spitz sezone. And what is the off-peak season or off-peak period in British English? In American English, that is low season. Okay. Peak season and off-peak.
Well, during the peak, that means a lot of people are going there because it's middle of the summer, it's warm, and they don't have to do jobs. They're probably on their work holiday, as well as the kids are on the school holiday. A lot of peak is usually before the start of school, during school, where a lot of people can't go, so the prices are cheap and it's easier to get a booking.
Right. Okay, there's actually one peak in the winter, you know, for the winter holidays, for skiing holidays, you know. But yes, when we say peak season or high season, we're usually talking about the summer. What about, so it's kind of crowded in those well-known destinations. What about the prices of accommodation, of food, even in those destinations? The prices of the whole package holiday? Are the prices higher in peak season?
Yes.
Yes, they are, because the majority of people can only take their holiday during that time period, and then travel agents take advantage of that and they raise their prices because they know they can earn more money, because people have no choice. Okay, good. So thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. Now have a look at the second exercise. This is another exercise type that you will definitely have in your exam and your midterm test, actually, if we happen to do it at the faculty, which I seriously doubt. But anyway, so now we've already talked about two mandatory exercise types in any use of English 1 test, whether it's the midterm test or the final exam. So one is a closed test, but we're not going to have a closed test in this form. We're going to have something that's called an open closed test, which means that the vocabulary that you're going to use to put into the blanks will not be given. Where will that vocabulary be? Up here, okay? So that's why we're doing these regular closed tests, so that we can learn, that we can practice, so that, in a test, you don't get the vocabulary that you need to use in the blanks. You have to come up with that vocabulary. Vanya, yes?
For example, during those tests, open tests, if we maybe have a synonym to the word that's supposed to be there, not really the word we used in this exercise, but it's a synonym, is that okay?
Listen, yes, of course. So anything that makes sense, that is logical, and grammatically correct will be accepted. So, the texts that you will get as closed tests will deal with the same topic that, we'll cover in the course, but you will not get the exact same passages. So you will get a passage that you're not familiar with that deals, for example, with traveling. But the vocabulary items that will be targeted will be those that we cover here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Znači, koji su to vocabulary items koji mogu da se ispituju? Ovo što radimo ovde, bilo da je to target, odnosno znači dato iznad teksta, ili recimo može, pogledajte ovu prvu rečenicu. People have more and more money, blah, 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 can afford to go abroad. So I can have a sentence similar to this one, but, I can put a blank instead of a forward. So they have enough money to go abroad, or in other words, they can blank to travel to faraway destinations. So you would put a forward. So that's why it's important for you to check if you understand perfectly well all the vocabulary items in all the exercises or texts that we do and read. Okay, not just those that are targeted in the blanks, in the exercises that we do. So plus, yeah, I'll illustrate something else a bit later, but so for now, this is it. Okay, so before we do the next exercise, which is a bunch of sentences with blanks, so these are like mini contexts. So again, you will not be given the vocabulary that you need to use in blanks in this exercise either. So let's try to clarify the meanings of some important vocabulary items here. So what's a journey, for example? Does anyone know the definition of a journey? So yes, Vanya. So, by the way, travel is the most general word out of these. What's a journey, Vanya? Yes.
I think the journey is like when we travel from a place to place, but the travel itself is more important than the places we actually visit.
Aha, very nice. Yes, yes. And it's usually traveling from traveling on land or by land. Yes. Yes, yes. So it's basically moving from point A to point B, something like that. Yes. So the travel or the trip is more important than the destination and the purpose of your visit. What's a trip then? Anyone? What's a trip? Oh, the same people again. Okay, Luca.
Well, it's when you're focusing on the destination more than the actual journey.
Aha. Okay. So we might say that it's something like a short journey for a very particular purpose, which is usually what? What's that collocation? A collocation is a combination of words that go together always or most often. A business trip, right? We never say a business journey. We say a business trip because it's done for a very specific purpose. Sometimes there's a trip for pleasure. So the purpose of a trip is either business or pleasure. So it's safe to say that, you know, it's almost always one of those two purposes. And it's a shorter journey, right? Okay, good. What about the word voyage? Voyage. Matea. What about the word voyage? What's a voyage?
Basically, it's a really long trip by sea.
Yes. Okay. So it's like actually like a journey, but by ship or boat. Okay, and it's long. It is true. It's long. How does a cruise differ from a voyage? Okay. The same people all the time. What about the rest of you guys? How come you don't want to practice your English just a bit? Okay, Matea again. So you were the first one to raise your hand.
Well, basically, you go on a cruise for your self-enjoyment in a way.
Okay.
So, like, you sail around without a precise destination. You do it for pleasure.
Oh, without a precise destination? What do you mean?
Or there might be more destinations that you visit, but it's basically more for pleasure.
Right, yeah. So, yes, so when you go on a cruise, you actually spend most of your time on a cruiser or a cruise ship, okay? And you visit multiple destinations, okay? So, for example, a cruise around the Mediterranean, you know, and you visit like maybe 10 places, 10 ports. Okay. So what's the Serbian term for a cruise? Anyone? Luka?
Krstarenje.
Tačno, krstarenje. Okay, and what's a tour? What's a tour? Like a tour of Europe. Mariana?
When we visit more than one place at the same time.
Right. So a tour on land would be something like a cruise on water. Okay. So yes, you visit multiple places. So you can go on a tour of a city, you can go on a tour of a country, of a region, a tour of a continent, or a world tour. Yes. Okay. Good. So now I think we've clarified the important vocabulary items that are used in this exercise. And it's exercise 2 about journeys on page 5. So, okay. Can we have a volunteer for the first 5 sentences? So sentences A through E. Alexa. Yes. Alexa? Može? Oh, microphone problems. Okie dokie. Alexa, I'm really sorry. Then I would have to ask Anna to do the first 5 sentences.
For general advice about travel, go to a travel agent.
Yes, good, great. So travel is the most general word out of all of these. Okay, B?
One day I would like to do the trip by train and ship across Russia to Japan.
Actually, it's a journey by train and ship across Russia to Japan. So a trip is shorter and the purpose is either understood or maybe even mentioned. Okay, so this is a journey. Okay, so from one point to another. Okay, what about C?
We're going on a tour of Europe, visiting 11 countries in 5 weeks.
Yes, this is a tour because you visit multiple places. Okay, D?
We went on 3-week cruise around the Mediterranean. The ship called Venice, Athens, Istanbul, and Alexandria.
Okay, a 3-week cruise around the Mediterranean. So what's this lovely phrasal verb to call at a place? To call at. It's a phrasal verb and it means to visit, usually to pay a short visit to a place. Okay, and the final one, E?
He once went by ship to Australia. The voyage took 4 weeks.
The voyage took 4 weeks. Very nice. So that's a voyage. That's a long journey by ship or boat. Okay, so Ksenia was the first one to raise her hand. Did you raise your hand for the remaining 5 sentences?
Yes, I did.
Yes, great. Okay, Ksenia, this is sentence F that we're working on now.
I'm going on a business trip to Paris next weekend.
Yes, great. So a business trip, that's a common collocation. Okay, what about G?
Air France flight 507 from Paris to New York will be taking off in 10 minutes.
Great. H? This is the most difficult one, actually.
The trip from Heathrow Airport to the center.
But we've already used the word trip in sentence F.
The journey, no.
It is the journey from Heathrow Airport to the center of London.
Oh my God, well, actually, I first put journey, but then I changed my mind and said trip, but
Yeah, well, don't second guess yourself. So usually whatever you think of first is the correct answer. So the thing is that, remember what we said, yes, a journey is usually over quite a long distance, which is not the case in this sentence. But again, remember what we said, it's just like basically moving from one point to another, where the act of covering that distance is more important than the destination or the purpose, you know? So this is like just the duration of moving from point A, which is Heathrow Airport, to central London, which is point B. So the journey. Yeah. Okay. And then there are 2 more sentences on the next page.
On our first day in New York, we went on a 3-hour trip of the city by bus, which showed us the main sites.
Okay, but we've used the word trip already. Okay, although yes, we may use the same word multiple times, but you know, this is a tour because it showed us the main sites. So it means that we visited several places. Okay, so whether those are the sites within the same place, the same town or city, or area, or if it's a huge area like a continent, then it's still a tour. So for example, I don't know, when someone from abroad comes to Niš, you may give them a tour of Niš. So you would show them the major sites. Yeah. And the last one, the last sentence, sentence J.
During our stay in London, we went on a day.
Now it's the word trip.
Trip. Yes.
Yeah. So a short journey, usually for business or pleasure. Okay, to Oxford. By the way, Oxford, of course, is spelled with a capital O. So in my copy of the reader, it's a lowercase o. It should be an uppercase o or a capital one. Da li kod vas malim slovom piše Oxford? Da, so can you please correct that? It's a typo.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, look at the next exercise. This is another typical, and when I say typical, I mean mandatory exercise that you will always have in any kind of test, any kind of use of English 1 test, okay? Znači, već smo ta 3 glavna I obavezna vežbanja ilustrovali. Okay. Anna Jankovic raised her hand. Anna?
Yeah, I wanted to do the third one.
You wanted to do the third one. See, the difference between a tour operator and a travel agent. Yeah?
Wait.
Oh, you wanted to do the third exercise.
Yeah. Like
okay. All right. Yes, you will. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
But let me just explain something. So this the so-called explain the difference between exercise. And in this exercise, you will try to give a brief explanation of the major difference or major differences between 2 things. Not 3 things, as in case B in this exercise, but 2 things. Znači, na kolokvijumu ili ispitu 2 items, 2 vocabulary items, either individual words or phrases. Okay, so Anna, what's the difference between a hotel and a bed and breakfast place? What's the difference?
You can stay in a hotel for like a longer time, and you can stay there for like a whole day, I think. And a bed and breakfast place is like the place you go. It's more like a motel, I guess. Not sure though.
Well, you know, you can stay at a bed and breakfast place for as long as you like, or for as long as they have an available room. But the major difference is in the fact that in a bed and breakfast place, you can stay overnight and have breakfast in the morning. Okay, you usually don't choose and say, "Oh, I don't want to spend my money on your food. I just want to stay overnight," because the breakfast is usually included in the price. So you have to pay for both. But, you know, it's up to you whether you'll go downstairs and have breakfast in their dining room or not. But the thing is that, you know, a bed and breakfast place is usually a much, much, much smaller place, privately owned, right? So it usually resembles a privately owned big house than an actual hotel, whereas a hotel is a much, much, much bigger place. It's usually more expensive, and it usually has things, you know, like additional things that a bed and breakfast can never have, like a gym, like some hotels even have a small swimming pool, or, you know, something like that. So, and at a hotel, you can usually have some additional meals, like lunch and dinner if it's a bigger hotel. So which one is cheaper?
I would say a bed and breakfast place.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so a hotel is bigger, offers
more to offer,
more options, right? And it's more expensive. Okay, what's the difference between being seasick, between being airsick and car sick?
Can I do the second one too? Okay, thanks.
Yes, if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to. Seasick means when you're sick after during traveling by ship, like
Yes.
yeah. Air sick means that you feel sick while being on a plane, and car sick means that you're sick during a car.
A car ride.
A car ride.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So the point is that all three have to do with motion sickness. Motion sickness. So your tummy gets upset because of the movement of the vehicle. It's just that you get seasick on a boat or ship, air sick on a plane, and car sick in a car. Great. Who would like to explain the difference between a tour operator and a travel agent? So this is the most difficult one, I think. Okay, let me tell you. So a tour operator is a person or a company that organizes holidays. So plans holidays, plans the means or modes of transportation, arranges the prices, plans where the tourist would stay and so on. Whereas a travel agent is a person working in a travel agency and selling those holidays organized by the tour operator to people interested in them, so to the public. Okay, what's the difference between being at sea and being at the seaside? What's the difference? Okay, Alexa?
I think the difference is when you're at the seaside, that means you're like in a resort that's like next to the sea or on a beach.
Exactly, yes.
But
yes.
if you're at sea, that means you're like on the sea, maybe like on a ship or something like
On
that.
a ship, yes, on a ship. God forbid, floating desperately and helplessly in the middle of an ocean. Yeah, but you're on a ship, yes, at sea. Okay, good. Look at exercise 4. This is a cute exercise that tests only your preposition, and I always like to do this one with your help. So let's go through this very quickly. So I'm going to go through the sentences. We went, help. Anyone, you can use the chat or turn on your microphone quickly.
By car.
We went by car, thank you. We went blank John's car. So pay attention to the difference. We went in John's car. We went in John's car. We went, the third one, on a journey.
On a journey.
Yes, on a journey. Now, to arrive in and to arrive at, what's the difference? You arrive in a larger place. When I say place, it's in quotation marks. So you arrive in a city, in a continent, or in a country. So for example, we arrived in New York, in the USA, in North America. That's it. So those three things. You arrive at anything that is smaller than these three. So anything smaller than a city or a large town. So in these sentences, sentence D, she arrived in or at London.
In London.
London, but she arrived at
the hotel.
You arrive at a hotel, at a stadium, at a beach, at a cinema, at a village, at I don't know, whatever smaller place. Okay, good. Thank you. Can we now check your homework? Do we have a volunteer for the at the airport passage? Ksenia, yes, it's all yours. Shoot.
I'm not so sure about this exercise, but I'll try.
Oh, okay. But do you still want to try, or did you volunteer for the second one in the air?
I can volunteer for the second one.
Okay, good. So the second one is yours. Milos Nikolic. Okay, Milos, the first one, može?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Let me tell you something. So there's a typo because my computer is set to American English. So look at the second word in this text. When traveling by air, So traveling in British English should be with a double L. In American English, it is spelled with a single L, but in British English, it should be with a double L. So could you correct that, please, in your readers?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
And then Milos, we're all ears.
When traveling by air, you have to get to the airport early in order to check in, about an hour before your flight.
Okay, so to check in means what? Anyone? It means you go to the check-in counter to tell them that you've arrived, to show them your ticket, to show them your passport, and to give them your heavy luggage that should go into the cargo area of the plane. So the luggage that you're not taking on board with you. So because that smaller piece of luggage that you may carry with you is called the carry-on or hand luggage. Okay, go on.
If you have a lot of luggage, you can push it on a trolley, and you can put it on a check-in desk, where someone will check your ticket and weigh your luggage.
Weigh your luggage. So if you weigh something, what does that mean? You
Weight.
measure the weight of that thing. So to weigh, verb, weight, noun. Okay, good. Go on.
If you have excess baggage, it can be expensive.
So what is excess baggage? Excess baggage.
Maybe something you carry on yourself,
No, it's more.
or maybe
more
more that than allowed.
Yeah, that is not allowed without an extra charge. So, for example, if you purchase a ticket to certain destinations, then the price of a 23-kilo suitcase is included in the whole airfare, in the price of the ticket. But if, for example, your suitcase weighs 24 kilos, then you would have to pay for that extra kilo. And they charge ridiculous amounts for that. So maybe like 20 euros for every extra kilo, And that's why you quite often see people at airports unpacking their luggage, especially their suitcases, putting on some clothing items, putting their socks in their pockets, eating the food that they might have, so that they kind of fit into the allotted amount of baggage so that they don't have to pay extra charges. So that would be excess baggage. Значи, вишок притляга у смислу veća težina od one težine koja je uključena u cenu. So that you, okay. Go on.
Your heavy luggage is put on a conveyor belt and carried away.
So what's a conveyor belt? That's
belt that takes away the baggage to the back of the plane.
Right. Okay. So does anyone in Serbian? Yes, Nađa.
Mislim da je to pokretna traka.
Tačno, pokretna traka, neki čak zovu beskonačnom trakom ako je to ona traka koja ide stalno u krug. Kao recimo kad posle leta, kad skupljate svoj prtljak, znači to je traka koja ide u krug, to je takođe conveyor belt. It's another type of a conveyor belt. So if you miss your suitcase, then wait for just a few short minutes and then it will come again. So it will make another circle. Okay, go on, Milos.
A light bag is classed as hand luggage and you can take it with you on the plane.
Right, ručni prtljak, čisti srpski termin. Go on.
An immigration officer looks at your passport and a security checks.
Security guard.
A security guard checks your hand luggage before you go into the departure lounge to wait till your flight is called.
Right. So a departure lounge is like a fancy waiting room, but we don't call it a waiting room if it's a part of an airport building. We call it the departure lounge. You wait there for your flight to be called, so that you wait for them to announce that the passengers can board the plane. So basically you wait there for the departure of your plane. So that's why it's called the departure lounge. Okay, go on.
If you want to, you can buy some cheap duty-free goods here. Then you see on the departures board, or you hear an announcement that you must board your plane.
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I lost the line here. Yeah. Oh, okay. It happens to me. So, some cheap duty-free goods. Then you see on the departures board. Yes, that's what you
LNM.
hear an announcement. Yeah, I was looking at the next line where you also have board to board your plane. So sorry. Okay, I think I should use my finger and follow the sentences. Okay. All right. Go on.
You go through the departure gate, then there's sometimes security check before you actually enter the plane.
Good.
When all the passengers are on board and when the captain and his crew are ready in the cockpit, the plane begins to taxi to the end of the runway.
Good. Stop for a second, actually.
Okay.
So to taxi, when a plane taxis, this is interesting. So this is a verb. To taxi. Can anyone explain what this means?
Can I?
Yes, please.
So it's when the plane is on the actual runway and is not airborne and is maneuvering throughout the runway on its wheel.
Yes. Good. So please never say anyone, don't say the plane drives to the end of the runway. So we say the plane taxis to the end of the runway, where when it gets, the green light from the control tower, it accelerates and then takes off eventually. Okay, so have a look at what I sent you. Runway versus runaway. What's the difference? So this is a runway that we're dealing with. Luca.
A runway is like a designated linear space where you're supposed to pista, where you're supposed to be moving in a certain direction in line. And run away is someone who runs away.
Right. Okay, good. So, exactly. So, runway, pista. What kind of pista in Serbian? Pista na aerodromu. Any other type of pista?
Yeah, there's a fashion runway.
Okay, good. So, pista, it's a fashion show. So, runway. Manekinska pista. What's another word? You don't need to know this, but I'm just asking you. I assume that most of you know another term for a runway at a fashion show.
Catwalk?
Catwalk, exactly. Catwalk, yes. So catwalk is not a part of this course, but I thought you would know, so you prove that you do. Okay, and can you read the final sentence, please?
Finally, permission is received from the control tower and the plane moves faster and faster in order to take off.
Yes, okay, good. Thank you very, very much. Guys, any questions about this? No questions? Yes, Ksenia?
I have one question, which is connected to our midterm test. What if we, in a midterm test, don't know some word?
Nothing. You either leave it blank or you try to come up with something that you think is probably not correct, but it might have a chance of being correct, or you might have a chance of getting maybe half a point for that.
All right.
That is not perfect. Okay. Yeah.
Now can I read in the air?
Yes, please. Yes.
Flying is fun. I like being in a big airliner with a cabin crew, stewards and stewardesses looking after me. They walk up and down the aisle I'll bringing meals and drinks, and if the flight is going through some turbulence, they warn everybody that it might be a bit bumpy and ask us to fasten our seatbelts.
Okay, stop there for a second. So an airliner is just a fancy word for a plane or for an aircraft, okay? You know who cabin crew are, okay?
Yes.
Nowadays, so the preferred term is flight attendants as opposed to stewards and stewardesses. Stewards and stewardesses, well, that's something that many people nowadays don't opt for because it might not be perfectly politically correct, because nowadays there's a tendency to start using the terms that refer to both genders. So one term that refers to both genders, and that would be the term a flight attendant, or I gave you the plural in the chat. Then what's an aisle? I think we mentioned that last time. So that's a narrow passage between like two rows of seats or something on a plane, bus, church, supermarket, you know, cinema. Turbulence, the movement or the shaking of a plane due to the differences in air pressure. Okay, and you know the rest. Okay, go on, Xenia. Go on reading.
Okay. On a long flight, I like listening to music through the headphones. Available to all passengers, and sometimes I have a sleep. I enjoy it all so much that I never want to plan to land.
Okay, good. Okay. Nice, thank you. Any questions, guys? Anyone? So when you do your homework, I'm not just telling you, oh, feel free to use a dictionary. Do use a dictionary. Look up all the vocabulary that you're not sure of or whose pronunciation you're not sure of, you know, and look up some other vocabulary, maybe some other related vocabulary. Read the definitions in English. That's how you, you know, work on your vocabulary. Okay. Exercise 3, prepositions, always mine. Okay, Nadia, you volunteered for what? Did you want to do?
But I can do the whole, or I can.
You want to do my prepositions? Okay, yes, go ahead to do my prepositions, and I'll sulk in the corner. What does sulk mean? Sulk. Duriti se. Yeah, small children sulk. Yeah, I know some adults who sulk as well, but yeah, okay. Nadia, exercise 3 is all yours. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We decided to go by plane.
By plane, good. I'll just repeat so that everyone hears that loud and clear. Okay. B?
When do we take off?
Off.
First, you must go through customs and immigration.
Through. Znači da se prođe kroz carinsku i kontrolu i kroz ovu imigracionu kontrolu. Okay.
Yes, you'd better ask for the information desk.
Okay, you can ask for the directions to the information desk. It may make sense. Or at is slightly better. Ask at the information desk, because you ask for information at the information desk at an airport. Okay? You better ask at. So if you have any questions about anything, there's the information desk. Go there and ask at the information desk whatever question you have. Okay, E?
His friend went to the airport with him to see him. And I was confused. Do I need to put something in this blank space too?
Yes, there's a blank there. So his friend went to, so I'm reading the sentence in the reader. So his friend went to the airport with him to see him off. To see someone off is another phrasal verb that we should know. Remember we mentioned to call at a place? We should know those phrasal verbs as well. So again, everything that we do in whatever type of exercise or text, so everything may and will be tested in the final exam or midterm test, if we have one. Okay, so his friend went to the airport with him to see him off. To see someone off means to go with that person to the point of their departure, prati nekoga. Znači, ispratio ga je na put tako što je s njim otišao do aerodroma. Okay. F.
You must check in at 10:30.
Yes.
Put your luggage on a trolley.
Good.
And
H.
he looked for my passport.
He looked for my passport.
At.
If I had lost it, yes, makes sense. Or he looked at my passport to check, you know, like my personal information or country of origin or whatever. Yes. So listen, because these sentences are given in isolation, then, for example, for sentence H, both for and at make sense. Okay. Čim nemamo neki kontekst koji bi nam ograničio meaning, značenje, onda znači prihvata se sve što je prihvatljivo, sve što ima smisla i sve što je gramatički tačno. All right, any questions, guys? No? Okay, for your next homework, which I uploaded yesterday evening, so your homework 2 would be everything on page 10. So we have 3, passages there. Where's that? The countryside, the seaside, the mountains. So fill in the gaps there, plus the first 2 exercises on page 11. So don't do the third one on page 11, just the first 2 on page 11. Leah, yes, please.
Yes. Imam pitanje vezano za ovaj treći exercise na 6. stranici gde treba da explain the difference between.
Dobro.
Znači, ako dobijemo takvo pitanje na ispitu, na primjer kažemo a hotel is bigger, more expensive, whereas this other thing is this and that.
Well, yes, but if you say a hotel is bigger and more expensive and has more features, then you don't have to say then a bed and breakfast place, which is cheaper and smaller, you know, because you don't have to waste your words on cheaper, smaller, because you've already said the first thing is bigger and more expensive. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll have only 2 lines for explaining the differences. But yes, you know, it would be enough just to mention those things. So whatever you can fit into 2 lines. Dimitri, na strani 11 samo, ne, prva 2, piše vam sve u učionici. Znači exercises 1 and 2 on page 11 and everything on page 10. Okay. Any more questions? Otherwise, we're done for today. So please do your homework and I'll see you next week on Thursday at 3:30. Yeah. And I'll schedule the meeting today. Okay?
Virginia.
Bye-bye.